This is the Great Pyramid of Giza. For over 4,600 years, it has endured in the Egyptian desert. For most of human civilization, it was the tallest building in the world. It was built to last for eternity because it was meant to house a god. It has survived earthquakes, erosions, and wars. Countless plunderers, British explorers blasting their way in with dynamite. Even Mr. Beast, someone 4,500 years ago, put this rock right here. The 2.3 million stone blocks, some of a mass of up to 50 metric tons, make it one of the heaviest human-made objects of all time. It's also built with incredible precision. Its base is roughly the size of 7 New York City blocks and almost perfectly level, never deviating more than an inch. The four sides are aligned to the cardinal directions with near-perfect accuracy, thousands of years before the compass was even invented. To this day, no one has found out how exactly it was built. To really understand the Great Pyramid, we modeled the whole thing, and we will tackle 3 fascinating theories of its construction. This is the insane engineering of the pyramids. Confirmed this is Khufu, a pharaoh of ancient Egypt. He's king of the wealthiest nation on the planet, and he's a god. He's going to live forever, and he needs somewhere to live out his immortality, a home that will last. It will need to be incredibly secure to house all of his riches, and it should also look amazing. His father, Pharaoh, also a god, is Buriadera. He's the pharaoh who taught Egypt how to build its pyramids, but the lines on his aren't quite perfect. Something went wrong. Khufu can do better. He can bring even more glory to Egypt. The nation is still mourning Neferu's death. Khufu wants to lift the people up by drawing them into the most incredible project humanity has ever attempted. And then surely they'll love him, and later remember him more than his dad. A project as grand and ambitious as the Great Pyramid can only be pulled off by a very wealthy and very organized nation. The nation of Egypt is just that, thanks in large part to the Nile. Every year, the Nile overflows and fertilizes the land with rich topsoil. This gives ancient Egypt the ability to grow excess crops to keep its production wealthed and to sustain a standing army. The army regularly goes out and terrorizes Egypt's neighbors, plundering their wealth to bring home for the pharaoh. So Khufu has all the money he needs to build something very, very extra. But money isn't everything. Khufu also needs the smartest architect to design a building that will set him up for eternity. There's only one man for the job, Khufu's half-brother Theremi, Yuanu. He was born for the role, a once-in-a-generation genius. The design for his pyramid won't just follow in his father's footsteps. It will surpass it in every way. He envisions a pyramid far grander, more complex, and more secure than anything built before. A true quantum leap in architectural mastery. Heiyu plans to build a pyramid primarily out of solid stone. Inside will be 3 burial chambers, with a passageway leading to each. The first is built underground in case Khufu dies early into the pyramid's construction. The second will be hidden behind a false wall so nobody can plunder the riches inside. Leading up to the third and highest burial chamber is a majestic corridor with stunningly high corbelled ceilings. The Grand Gallery. The king's chamber will be breathtaking, a chance for Hamu to flex. It'll be huge for ancient Egyptian standards. It'll be built entirely from pink granite monoliths, quarried far away from Aswan, fitted together so precisely that you couldn't slip a razor blade in between them. Inside a granite sarcophagus, Khufu will finally be laid to rest. Once complete from the inside, the pyramid will be encased in perfectly smooth white limestone. It will dazzle in the sunlight and gleam in the moonlight. Finally, a golden capstone, the pyramidion, will be placed on top. Once all is put in place, Khufu will be ready for eternity. Building a pyramid might take an empire, but to build your dream business, you only need Shopify is an amazing, all-in-one platform. We've personally used it since 2018 for a sustainable clothing project. We started out with just an idea. Thanks to Shopify, our brand now reaches customers around the world. We built a beautiful storefront with ease. We tracked orders seamlessly and get a ton of valuable insights from the dashboard. One of our favorite tools is Shopify Live View. You can see where customers are shopping in real time. Dere over 8,000 apps to customize your store, like sustainable shipping options or loyalty programs. Shopify isn't just for online sales. Shopify Point of Sale helps you sell IRL, perhaps in that pop-up store you always wanted to go for. If you've been waiting for the perfect moment to start your own thing, this is it. Any idea can grow into a fully developed global business with Shop. Try it free today at shopify.com/fern or by scanning this QR code. Hemunu doesn't have time to waste. The pyramid should be built as quickly as possible so that at least one of the burial chambers is ready before Khufu's mortal self dies. Hemunu is aiming for a timeline of 20 years for the whole project. He calculates that the Great Pyramid will require up to 25,000 builders, a significant portion of ancient Egypt's population of about 1 million. So, a great recruitment drive begins. But how exactly did they do it? Well, nobody knows. The debate's been raging for hundreds of years, and researchers are constantly uncovering new archaeological evidence and bizarre engineering quirks that give birth to new theories, sometimes with cutting-edge tech, sometimes by sheer dumb luck. There are theories supported by scientific research, which we will cover, and there's tons of dubious theories that rely on wild speculation, which we'll ignore. We've broken down 3 scientific theories about what the Egyptian secret could be in order of easy, medium, and hard. Imagine you and some co-workers have to hoist a block as heavy as a double-decker bus 130 meters into the air. The only tools your boss gives you are some rope, some wood, and some rubble. If you've got something heavy, you've got to move somewhere high. The simplest, most straightforward way is to just drag it up a ramp. You tie it with some rope, get help from as many people as can fit on the ramp, and heave it up together. As the pyramid grows, the ramp would be raised and extended to accommodate the increasing height. Easy. No crazy advanced machinery necessary. Most Egyptologists have traditionally supported the external ramp theory. It continues to be the go-to explanation for how the builders pulled it off. And there's loads of archaeological evidence that confirms ancient Egyptians used big ramps for construction all the time. But there's no consensus on the size, shape, and incline of such a ramp. That's because after a certain height, the external ramp theory starts to fall apart. To move about 2 ton block up a slope, you need a team of about 12 workers. And as the pyramid starts to grow, your ramp either needs to become steeper or longer to reach the top. You're going to want that incline to be as gentle as possible. Otherwise, the job is too intense, and workers will start dropping like flies. The remains of the workers suggest most were in decent, but not spectacular health. These were everyday people, not super elite athletes. Many died before 40 due to the incredibly hard work. Engineers calculated 8% is the steepest incline for average workers to complete their task. In consequence, the ramp has to become longer. To build a ramp to the full 147 meters height of the pyramid at a gentle enough incline, this ramp would need to be very, very long, like way more than a kilometer. It would require a few million tons of material, up to 3 times as much volume as the entire pyramid. Remains of such an enormous ramp haven't been found, and it would take thousands of workers decades just to build it. Decades Khufu doesn't have to spare. There is a way to keep the ramp shorter. You could build a core crew ramp that spirals around the sides, like a road winding up a mountain. Every time the pyramid grows, the ramp grows with it, and eventually just becomes part of the pyramid itself. That would be a pretty ingenious way to save up on space and material. And it would explain why we haven't found any remains of a ramp. But it comes with a whole new set of problems. The pyramid's triangular faces need to be accurately maintained at precisely 51.9 from the bottom to the top. Surveyors need to measure the edges constantly to ensure there's no deviation. If you're off by even a few centimeters at the bottom, the top could be off by several meters. Since the spiral ramp blocks your sight, it's almost impossible to ensure that all the lines of the pyramid are actually straight, which would leave you with a crooked pyramid at the end. And as we know, the Great Pyramid is in fact not crooked. This brings us to theory number 2. It's the late 90s. A French engineer, Henri Odin, is watching a documentary about the pyramids. It explains the pyramid construction with the external ramp theory, but Henri is skeptical. To his engineering mind, it just doesn't make sense. He calls up his architect's son, Jim Rodin, and asks his opinion. Jer is intrigued. Without knowing much about ancient Egypt at all, or even visiting the pyramid, he starts puzzling over other ways the blocks could have been lifted. He labors over it obsessively for years, until he's finally ready to share it with Egyptologists. Most of them ignore him. He's an outsider, and it's a field notorious for a French guy who knows nothing because there's no evidence. But his theory has since gained traction because Odin has put himself into the shoes of Mu. Thinking through every last detail, His theory could even explain how the heaviest granite beams might have been moved without needing to be hauled by 600 workers. Here's a concise version. And the UNU does use an external ramp for the first part of the pyramid up to around 60 meters. But he doesn't just build a basic ramp made of rubble. No, his ramp is made of limestone. The limestone blocks that will later compose the upper layers of the pyramid. That would explain why we haven't found any remains of a ramp around the pyramid. They're right there in front of us. The short external ramp is used to build the widest lower levels of the pyramid. It's also used to haul the heavy granite beams that compose the king's chamber. But hundreds of workers hauling a 50-ton block in a small space is logistically challenging. So Adon believes Eminyu used the long 46 meters corridor, the Grand Gallery, as an ingenious counterweight system. It would have been built opposite the external ramp, and its size and slope would be leveraged with counterweights that would assist workers in getting the granite up to the king's chamber. The Grand Gallery is a weird space in the Great Pyramid. Have you ever stood in front of a picture of the Great Pyramid of Giza and just wondered, how on earth did an ancient civilization, without the help of modern cranes or machinery, build something so massive, so precise, and so enduring? For centuries, this question has baffled historians, engineers, and archaeologists. Today, we're diving deep into the most mind-bending theories, from secret internal ramps to colossal water elevators, and even exploring the mysteries still hidden within its stones. Let's start with the scale of this project. The Great Pyramid, built for Pharaoh Khufu, is made of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons. These weren't just rough boulders. They were cut and placed with a precision that would challenge builders even today. The pyramid's base is almost a perfect square, and its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions. So, the first big question is, how did they move these giant blocks? The most widely accepted theory for a long time was the external ramp. The idea is simple. They built a long, sloping ramp out of mud, brick, and rubble, and teams of workers dragged the stones up it. It sounds plausible, right? But when you do the math, things get tricky. For a ramp to reach the top of the 481-foot-tall pyramid with a gentle enough slope for workers to actually pull the stones, it would have to be over a mile long. The sheer volume of material needed for such a ramp would rival the pyramid itself. Where did all that material go? There is no archaeological evidence of such a massive structure. This is where things get really interesting. What if the ramp wasn't on the outside, but on the inside? French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin proposed a revolutionary idea: an internal ramp. He suggests that the Egyptians built a straight external ramp for the bottom third of the pyramid. Then, they switched to a spiral ramp built inside the pyramid's outer casing as it grew. This ramp would corkscrew its way up, allowing workers to haul the blocks from within. This theory brilliantly solves the problem of the missing giant ramp. It's efficient, it's clever, and it explains some strange features inside the pyramid, like cernatus in the corners that could have been used to turn the massive blocks. Microgravity surveys have even detected a spiral-shaped anomaly within the pyramid's structure, which could very well be this internal ramp. Now, let's talk about the heart of the pyramid. The Grand Gallery. This is a long, tall, sloping passageway leading up to the king's chamber. It's an architectural marvel, but its exact purpose is still debated. The traditional view is that it was simply a grand corridor, but Houdin's theory gives it a new role. He suggests the Grand Gallery acted as a channel for a counterweight system. Imagine a heavy trolley on rails. This trolley, loaded with weight, would roll down the gallery, and through a system of ropes and pulleys, help hoist the massive granite beams for the king's chamber up a separate shaft. It's a piece of ingenious ancient engineering, using gravity to do the heavy lifting. But what if the answer isn't about ramps or counterweights, but about water? The Nile River was the lifeblood of ancient Egypt, and it might have also been the key to building the pyramids. We now know that an ancient branch of the Nile, the Khufu branch, flowed right up to the Giza Plateau. This allowed the Egyptians to transport the giant limestone and granite blocks by boat directly from the quarries to the construction site. This discovery was a game changer, solving the mystery of how they moved materials over long distances. Some researchers take the water theory a step further. The hydraulic elevator theory suggests that the Egyptians used the power of water to lift the blocks. Imagine a series of locks and shafts inside the pyramid, By flooding these chambers, they could have created a hydraulic lift, floating the blocks up level by level. Proponents of this theory point to the many chambers and shafts within the pyramid, suggesting they were part of a complex water-powered machine. This theory is more controversial, as it would have required incredible waterproofing technology. But it's a fascinating idea that leverages Egypt's greatest natural resource. So we have ramps, we have water, we have clever engineering. It seems like we're getting closer to the truth, but the Great Pyramid isn't done revealing its secrets. In 2017, a project called Scan Pyramids used cosmic ray imaging to peer inside the pyramid without touching a single stone. And they found something astonishing. A huge, previously unknown void, located right above the Grand Gallery. This void is at least 100 feet long, with a cross-section similar to the gallery itself. What is it? Nobody knows for sure. Is it another Grand Gallery? Is it a structural feature designed to relieve pressure on the gallery below? Or could it be a hidden chamber? Perhaps leading to the true, undiscovered burial chamber of Pharaoh Khufu. This discovery, nicknamed the Big Void, has reignited the global fascination with the pyramid's secrets. It's a stark reminder that even after thousands of years, this ancient wonder can still surprise us. And that brings us to the final and perhaps most personal mystery of all. Where is Khufu? The Great Pyramid was built as his tomb, his house of eternity. It contains three main chambers: the subterranean chamber, the so-called Queen's Chamber, and the King's Chamber at the top. The King's Chamber houses a large, empty granite sarcophagus, but the mummy of the great pharaoh has never been found. Was he ever even buried there? It's possible his tomb was looted in antiquity. The pyramids were prime targets for tomb robbers for millennia. Or perhaps the chambers we've found so far are just decoys. Maybe Khufu's real burial chamber, filled with his treasures and his mortal remains, is still hidden somewhere within the pyramid's vast structure, waiting to be found. Could it be connected to the newly discovered Big Void? The possibility is tantalizing. So, how was the Great Pyramid built? The truth is likely a combination of these incredible theories. They used the Nile to transport materials, perhaps a straight ramp for the base, and then an internal ramp to reach the top. They might have used the Grand Gallery as a sophisticated counterweight system. The full picture is still emerging, piece by piece, as new technology allows us to see the pyramid in ways its builders could never have imagined. The Great Pyramid of Giza is more than just a tomb. It's a testament to human ingenuity, organization, and the ambition to create something that would last forever. It challenges our assumptions about the ancient world, and reminds us that there are still great mysteries waiting to be solved. The search for answers continues, and with each new discovery, we get one step closer to understanding how the ancients achieved the impossible. What do you think? Which theory makes the most sense to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of ancient Egypt, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures into the past. See you next time.